The Adventures of Feluda by Satyajit Ray. The Mystery of the Walking Dead, Part 5. Shyamlal Malik was not injured, but the 2 hours he had had to spend with his hands and feet tied had shaken him very deeply. He was sitting on the mattress in his room staring blankly into space. "If they had to tie me up like that, why didn't they kill me?" I heard him mutter. I wondered if he knew all his money was gone. Feluda searched Shyamlal's room very thoroughly. Only the big chest had been opened. Everything else had been left undisturbed. The key to the chest used to be kept under his pillow. Bholanath Babu, who also slept on the first floor, was attacked in his sleep. Naturally, he had not been able to offer any resistance at all. The bearer had slept through it all. No one had gone anywhere near his room. One of the guards was away, and the other had been struck on his head by a heavy rod, which had left him unconscious for several hours. Jivalal's grandmother lived in the rear portion of the house. Fortunately, she knew nothing of what had happened. We spent 15 minutes talking to Bholanath Babu and the servants, but there was no sign of Jivanlal. "Did he go off to call the police?" Feluda asked. "I don't know, sir," Bholanath Babu faltered. "He sent me to your house and I saw him go out, but I haven't seen him since." Without a word, Feluda ran towards the stairs, with Lalmohan Babu and me behind him. We climbed down to the ground floor, crossed a courtyard and went into the garden through the back door. The sun had just risen and there was a thin mist. The grass and the leaves were wet with the early morning dew. Crows and mynas and some other birds I couldn't recognize had started going about their business. We made our way through the garden but had to stop in just a few minutes. Under a jackfruit tree lay the figure of a man. I recognized the blue shirt he was wearing, the white pajamas and the chappals. It was Jivanlal Malik. Feluda strode forward quickly and looked down at him. "My God!" he exclaimed in horror, stepping back. "Felu Babu!" Lalmohan Babu called, pointing at an object lying a few feet away from the body. "I know, I have seen it. Please don't touch it. That's what was used to kill Jivanlal." It was a square piece of cloth with a stone tied round one corner. Bholanath Babu had followed us out and realized what had happened. "I don't believe this," he cried and looked as if he was about to faint. "Please pull yourself together," Feluda said to him, laying a hand on his shoulder. "This is not the time to give way to despair. You must inform the police. If you like, Lalmohan Babu will go with you. Nobody must touch either the body or the weapon. This must have happened pretty recently. Perhaps the killer is still in the area. Go at once, but please make sure your master is not told about the murder." Feluda ran towards the compound wall and stopped before the gap in it. Then we both slipped out of it and found ourselves facing the bamboo grove through which we had walked on our first night here. There were no houses within 100 yards. We stepped into the bamboo grove. What was that structure tucked away in a corner? Oh, it was probably the old Kali temple Tulsi Babu had mentioned. A man was standing by the temple looking at us. "Why are you up so early?" he asked, coming forward. It was Taruk Kobiraj, the Ayurvedic doctor. "Haven't you heard?" Feluda asked. "Heard what?" "The old Mr. Malik." "What?" No, it's not what you think. Mr. Malik is fine, but his house was burgled last night and his son has been killed. But the old man does not know that, so please don't tell him." Taruk Kobiraj hurried on. After a few moments we decided to return. The culprit had clearly escaped. We slipped back into the garden. What I saw next, or rather what I did not see, made me blink and wonder if I was dreaming. Could this really be true? The ground under the jackfruit tree was empty. Jivalal's dead body had vanished and so had the piece of cloth. Lalmohan Babu was standing a few feet away, trembling visibly. He had to make an effort to speak. "Bholanath Babu and I went back to the house, but he said he would go to the police station alone. I let him go and then I walked this way to look for you, but then I saw that the corpse had gone." "Yes." Feluda ran again, but in a different direction. This time we made our way to the far end where we had found the hole in the garden. Behind the garden we now realized was another large pond as well as a bigger gap in the wall. No doubt the body had been dragged out through the gap and thrown into the pond. The tree under which the hole had been dug, I noticed, was a mango tree. We retraced our steps and went back into the house using the staircase at the back to go up to the first floor. "Jeevan, Jeevan," we heard his grandmother call. "Where's he got to now? Didn't I just see him?" We saw the old lady clad in a white sari come out of her room. Her heavily lined face looked sunken, her hair was cut very short and her eyes were hidden behind thick lenses. She must be at least 80, I thought. Feluda stepped forward to speak to her. "Jivanlal had to go out. Do you need anything? Perhaps I can get it for you." "Who are you?" "I'm a friend of his. My name is Prodosh. I haven't seen you before, have I?" "No, I arrived from the city only 2 days ago." "From Calcutta?" "Yes. Can I get you anything? What did you want Jivanlal for?" The old lady suddenly seemed uncertain. She raised her face, looked around and said a little helplessly, "I can't remember. What did I want him for? I can't remember anything anymore." We left her mumbling to herself and made our way to Shyamlal's room. The doctor was with him, feeling his pulse. "Where's Jeevan gone?" Shyamlal asked, his tone as helpless as his mother's. The doctor had obviously refrained from saying anything about the murder. "Didn't you want him to go back to Calcutta?" Feluda asked. "Back to Calcutta? You mean he left without telling me? How did he go? In a palanquin?" "No. There's no way anyone can go all the way to Calcutta in a palanquin. You know that very well." "Are you mocking me?" Shyamlal sounded hurt. "I am not the only one, Mr. Mollik," Feluda replied. "The whole village makes fun of you. Surely you realize your present lifestyle is not doing any good to anyone, least of all yourself. If you had a guard with a gun, that would have been far more effective than one with an old and blunt spear. Tell me, isn't this kind of a shock as bad as the electric shock you received years ago? Trying to put the clock back doesn't achieve anything, Mr. Mollik. You cannot bring back the times that have gone by. It's just not possible." I expected Shyamlal Malik to flare up and order Feluda to get out at once. To my amazement, he didn't. In fact, he did not speak at all. All he did was sigh and stare at the opposite wall.